Time being 7:02 p.m. on Wednesday, October 30th, 2013. We'll all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. The meeting is called to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seats. Mr. Cotton, not here due to illness. He called me late this afternoon. He's been down out of work for the last day, and he's not having a good time of it. Mr. Lucy?
Present.
Ms. DeRose?
Present.
Mr. Ravagno?
Here.
And Mr. Petridge is here. So we have 4, and that constitutes sufficient bodies to go forward with the Board of Directors meeting. Item 1, acceptance of the minutes of 9:25 and 10:24.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve both the 9:25:13 and 10:24:13 minutes.
Chair will second that motion. Any questions or comments relevant to those?
Nope.
Mr. Lucy?
No.
Mr. Ravagno?
Nope.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed?
No?
4, 2, 0. All right, the treasurer's report, Ms. DeRose.
Yes, this is a treasurer's report as of 10:30, excuse me. The Saugus Bank operating account, the balance is $74,443.85. The Saugus Bank payroll account is $10,071. The Saugus Bank CD is $102,663.98. And the Web First checking account has $45,265.29. The Web First CD has a total of $208,093.92, which is a total of $440,538.04, which excludes the SCTS money held in the town account. And that's my report.
Thank you. The chair will accept the motion relevant to the treasurer's report.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Chair will second. Is there any questions or comments relevant to the treasurer's report? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion passes 4-0. The financial statement for the year end 2012, Mr. Rose, can you speak to that relevant to Powers and Sullivan, please?
The board reviewed it, and it's acceptable to me, and I'd like to make a motion to approve that statement.
Chair will second that. Any questions or comments relevant to the report from Powers and Sullivan for the year-end
statement.
2012?
Mm-hmm.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes 4-0 to accept the financial statement. And Ms. Marabello, will you kindly notify Powers and Sullivan first thing tomorrow relevant to that so that they may proceed with the filings? Yes. Thank you. All right, I have a brief from the operations manager, and he wanted to make the board aware that SCTS has covered all 3 candidates tonight: the SAVE, the Chamber, and Republican Town Committee. SCTS has received 8 political ads from candidates running for public office and are currently up on Channel 9. SCTS has also completed a half-hour 2013 Saugus Candidates Program where 6 of the 20 invited candidates for public office had up to 5 minutes to introduce themselves and their platform. SCTS has been working with the Saugus High School journalism class every Thursday from 12:23 to 1:50. The class comes down and shoots mock press conferences with SHS facility as the person answering the student's question. These are recorded and will be edited by the Saugus High School video production class for airing on Channel 22.
That's great.
Also, Saugus Cable TV Station, with the assistance of Belmonte Middle School Principal Mrs. Robbins and teachers Mrs. Johnson and Mr. Lopez, has started up an after-school video production club. The first meeting took place on 10/28, and there were 13 kids excited and interested in producing program for the Channel 22. SCTS has loaned the school 2 full camera kits and an editing computer. SCTS will periodically help this club, will help them out when needed. Also, the new inventory process is moving very slowly. A training session is scheduled for November 6th to help guide us through the learning process, for the new ASAP asset management system. New issues with school safety have been addressed. SCTS has installed 24-hour video surveillance on premise. A doorbell and door chimes have also been installed. The front door of SCTS is now locked at all times. Again, this was done to address issues regarding school safety. The staff is very busy with shoots, 10 meetings covered, 8 varsity high school sports games covered, 3 candidates nights, 4 library presentation, trivia extravaganza, Historical Society Essex County Quiz, the Rotary Art Show, Meg Haunted House, and Vitale Park rededication. Volunteer members of Saugus High School and Saugus High School senior Derek Nelson is setting up Sports Break, a new sports talk show similar to last year's The Sports Lounge. Derek is taking the lead on this and is producing it on his own. And that is the report from the operations manager. Any questions relevant to his report?
No, I'd like just to say that it's a great start, and he's introducing a lot of good programs, and I'm excited about that sports lounge starting up again. That sounds really great. So I want to thank him.
All right, the chair will accept the motion to accept the operations manager report.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the operations manager report.
Chair will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 1-0 to accept. Next item will be Mr. C. Stanovitz past due invoice, and I'd like the Vice President to address that, if you would, please.
Okay. A letter had been sent out inviting Mr. Stanovitz to come here tonight so we could talk about this very bill. He claims that he didn't do 50 shows, and that's all well and good. It sounded like he said he did 50 shows. Maybe he misspoke and said 15. I don't know. But there's been inconsistencies all along with how many shows he's done. So I went looking through the newspaper to look at a few quotes, and at the beginning of the summer, he said he did 12 shows. And if you look again on, these are on the Lynn item, by the way. August 16th, I think it is? No, that's something else.
August 16th. Which is second
It's
page.
really tiny, I can't see it.
I know. My own show produced.
Oh, no, that's something else.
Okay.
Next one, he says, oh, that's something else too, I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
So basically what I have 12. The next page says 14, and I have another one, he said he did 15. These are all quotes that are in the Lynn item. So he's not here tonight to talk about this. So there's a far cry from 50 to 15 to 14 to 12. We asked him to come here tonight and explain. I guess it's 50. I don't know. Basically, we said, to avoid going to collections or whatever, come talk to us, and he's not here. I don't see him. So I think I'd like to wait another month before it goes to collections. Maybe something unforeseeable happened and he can't make it. There's other things that I'd like to talk about. He said he never sent, I can hardly even see this.
I know, it's hard to read.
Never did I, or, I can't see it.
Where are you?
Right here. Never did I receive from the 14 station DV. Well, the bottom line is this. He says he didn't send it out to 14 stations. He did what they call a bicycle program, and this isn't anything from me. This is what was on the board down the station. Oh, here it is, here. Yep. 15 shows, there it is. So basically what he did, this was on the station, down the board, on the board at the station. Basically what someone did is they put Creative Gardens Bicycle, and the shows were Topsfield, Essex, Rockport, Gloucester, Manchester, Stoneham, Situate, Malden, Hamilton, Wenham, 1 CD, Peabody, Ipswich, Beverly, Marshfield, and Newburyport. Mr. Steniford had been at the station on many occasions to go talk to Rich. He was down there in the shoots, and I know he saw this. We all saw this. So for the fact he doesn't know where we got 14 shows, they're right here. They came off the board at SCTS. So with that in mind, yes, Mr. Steniford did do 14 shows. Now the question becomes, who sent them out? Was it his idea? He's not here to tell me. Was it Mr. Garabedian's idea? I have no idea. So I would think that if he wants to go produce his own shows at these particular towns at that particular time, I don't know what the thought was going after those towns. I mean, you go to Malden and not Melrose, or you go to Malden and you don't go to Wakefield. You know, I don't understand why those particular towns were zoned in on. I don't know. I mean, if he was here, he could tell us. I can only assume, and I don't want to do that. So with that in mind, I'd like to table Mr. Steniford for another month, and maybe he'll show up next meeting. We'll send him another letter. And if he doesn't show up, I think we should send it to collections. If the chair would like me to put that in the form of a vote, I will.
The chair will accept a motion from the vice chairman.
I'd like to make a motion to table Mr. Steniford today and send him a registered letter, inviting him to the next board meeting to explain this to us.
Okay.
And if he decides not to show it, we'll go to collections.
Motion has been made and seconded to defer and notify through registered mail Mr. Steniford so we can come before this board and explain what he's been explaining to the Board of Selectmen, all of why he doesn't owe money. Anybody have any questions relevant to that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Who wants to go
One second,
first?
Mr. Lucy, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, gents. I have a couple of things I'd like to add to this that I find a little upsetting. Is that he's claiming that he didn't know that he was going to be charged for using his DVDs. And he's claiming that he's very competent and has a lot of experience at other stations and whatnot. And I had to buy a DVD from another station nearby, and I have a bill here for it, and it's for $10. So for him to say that no other stations charge this and whatnot, I've called around, they all charge for DVDs. For him to say that is just preposterous, and you know, it's very upsetting. And then he's seeking an apology from us as well for slander and whatnot. He's not going to get any such apology from me at all. And the audacity of this individual to get on TV and seek an apology, while at the same time, if you go to his Creative Gardens website, you'll still see a picture of him using our staff member as a videotaping his show, which is totally illegal. He never paid for it. It was never authorized, and for him to do that is it's terrible. And I really think this individual has a lot to answer for regarding this, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Lucy. Mr. Rose.
I have a couple of questions also. In this situation, Mr. Steniford went to the cable TV studio to do a show. Wasn't it the obligation of the executive director to set the guidelines? Was he ever told to pay, to have, that would be expenses incurred, or was it just assumed that it was a free ride? I don't know.
To answer that question, I will stipulate that both from the beginning, when it was contracted out from the town as a nonprofit, continuing on, when the town took it back and didn't renew the contract and made it a town board, it has always been enlisted as such that people would be trained to produce. First time around or second time around, A, they had to be members. B, they had to be trained and certified on the equipment. And then they could borrow the camera to go out and film whatever they wanted to film. At no time did Mr. Staniford ever take a class, was never certified. He just acted as Mr. Voice with the microphone, saying what he was saying relevant to the flower show, planting of trees and so forth. And I think that's commendable relevant to, there are a lot of people that are interested in horticultural issues, and we certainly would support that. But he purposely either ignored, or the executive director at the time did not bother to go through the proper procedure to have him trained so that he could go out with his own producers and directors to film whatever it is he thinks he has to film. And a lot of what he filmed is questionable, but under no condition was he ever allowed to do what he was doing. So he either did it without permission or was absolutely, totally waived by the former operations manager, executive director, Mr. Garabedian, and allowed him to spend tens of thousands of dollars of cable money for this one particular person in their private venture. And that's all I could term it as his personal private venture. They violated all the rules and regulations of SCTV and SCTS by not going and doing the proper procedure relevant to him going out all over Massachusetts to film his things. And then the audacity not to think that he didn't have to pay for these tapes. Tens of thousands of dollars in time that he used for his own personal edification. Totally wrong, and we do need an answer, because he complains to the Board of Selectmen, wrong venue. Come here, complain to us, and we'll ask the questions, and certainly we hope to get the answers. So I think it's very important that he come in and answer those questions and explain. Maybe there's something that we've missed. I really doubt it, but in all fairness, as the Vice President stated, that we'll send a registered letter, we'll give him another month to have him come in at the next board meeting and explain his actions and justify why he shouldn't have to pay the bill that was sent him, which was basically just the bottom line of the exact amount of dollars and cents for the equipment that he should have paid for. Nothing on the scope of taking our station personnel out, item for item, days on end. That amounted into tens of thousands of dollars, and he wasn't authorized to do that. So there are questions that have to be answered, and we'll look forward to him responding and coming to the next meeting so we can find out.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell me what date it was that we sent out the first letter? Has it been like 30 days so far? Okay, September 30th, so.
So it's exactly 30 days
And
since the letter
has he
went out?
ever called you or responded to you or asked you about the bill? No, okay, thank you.
So I think he has no intention. He went and did what he wanted to do, and
Well, he goes to the newspapers.
he goes to the newspapers.
Goes to the Board
I
of
think-
Selectmen.
and he
He's
cries
playing
foul,
little games
so.
up there.
Okay.
Okay. Well, in all
That's
fairness, we might have an idea of what's going on, but in all fairness, and to keep it by the numbers, we will extend a courtesy one more month. We'll notice him with registered mail and request him to make
Okay.
his presence felt here to answer the questions of the board relevant to all of what he's complaining to the Board of Selectmen about. Now, the board has directed him to come to us and make his complaints to us. We're certainly gonna be here to listen to what he has to say, and if he's got any justification to mitigate this, we're gonna listen and we'll be fair. But that'll be it, and if he fails to respond, then we'll take the appropriate action.
Okay.
The motion has been made and seconded. All conversation, any further comments? All in favor of sending him the registered letter?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion passes 4-0. All right, the time now being 7:20, and we have not heard from, or nobody's in residence here relevant to the issue next up on the agenda, and that's the Everdocs forensic computer report that the board put forward to the computer forensic folks. And I would like to now defer to the Vice President who is pointing up this project with his computer expertise. If you would please start off with the report, Mr. Ravagno.
Okay, I'm going to start off with a little story first. After Mr. Garabini was terminated, the computer went for, his office was locked for a while because we had to make a search for a new executive director. In that time, once we hired somebody, we needed to repurpose the computers that were in the office. So I went in and I got into the computer. We asked Mr. Garabini for passwords, and they weren't given to us. So we had to get into the computer by our own means. Once we got into
Now,
the...
let me ask you, relevant to that, and that was due to the fact that we're still trying to get, because of his threats on a suit and his lawyer wanting all of this documentation to be turned over to him for discovery?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So I got into the computer and I was going to start cleaning stuff up, and so we can repurpose it for Brian. And what I found in there was pretty bad, and I wasn't happy with what I saw. So I decided to take the computer on my day off, on a holiday, in town to Boston, to a forensic lab. Evadox, I think, is probably the number 2 company in Massachusetts that does this type of work. I went in and talked to them, and they forensically went through the whole computer. I'd like to address what we found on the computer. So,
If you could list where you were specifically from the 3-page one on the lead, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
5, and so forth.
so I'm going to go to page... Let's go to page 5. We'll start off with page 5. Turns out that Rich had his own video company that he was running out of the station. It's a great video company, registered to his, I guess it's his wife's address in Lynn. And it looks like he used his position at the studio to for profit on himself. He's not here. Maybe he just did this type of work as a, I don't know, fundraiser. I doubt that, because there's nothing in the registers that said any money was made for that. Unfortunately, he's not here to talk about this, and that's a question I have for him.
If I could interrupt just for the record, the board did send a letter to Mr. Garabedian and his attorney relevant to tonight's proceeding with the specifics of why we're having and requesting him to be here. Certainly, we can't force him to be here, but he was noticed personally, and he was noticed through his attorney that we had questions of him relevant to this particular report, and we are looking for answers of questions that we have of this, and there are some other things still in the works. So if you could continue from there, please.
Okay, going to page 3. If you look down the bottom third of the page, we have an ad that was in Craigslist that Rich had put in, also using the studio, also trying to sell his services from $50 to $100 an hour. It's not clear what studio he was going to use, but it's on here. And this is 9/21/2010. It was on his computer. Okay, moving on. Let's go to top of page 7.
One moment, please. Okay.
Work was done at the cable station, and this is roughly 4/9/2008. Work was done for Aggregate Industries. There's approximately, how many pictures are on this thing? 100, no, that's the wrong one, sorry. Oh, there's 2 PowerPoint presentations and somewhere about 50 pictures of the runway at Logan Airport being done over. Again, this is work that was done out of our studio, on our computers, and I have no idea if this was a fundraiser. I doubt it, because there's nothing in the register, in the books about Aggregate Industries donating any money to SCTV. Again, I don't know why this is on there. So, Aggregate Industries. Moving to page 8. And this is the trouble, this really troubles me. We found explicit material on his computer at the station. The station, if everybody doesn't know about it, is located at the high school. It just upsets me to know that he downloaded porn on his computer and actually saved it. The name of the file is The Beaches of Spain. It was a PowerPoint presentation. He downloaded it at the station on August 19th, 2010 at 9:48 a.m. In talking with the school, we found out that anybody that looks at porn, if it's a teacher, they get fired. If it's a student, they have to handle that on an individual basis because I guess they're kids. But that troubles me to know that, I can understand, being a guy, someone sends you something, it's in your email, and you just don't open it and work. Not only was it opened, it was saved. So, I don't know how many times in the future he had opened that file as well, especially with kids going through that studio and everything else. It upsets me to know that was there. Okay, what else do we got? And I'm not taking joy in this. I think it's disgusting. Page 6. What's page 6? This is page 6. No, that's.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I think.
Are you done with page 7?
Yeah, I'm done with this.
Okay,
I think. Do you have something to say?
I have a.
Yeah, well,
you-
hold on
it's gonna
a
be a
second.
while.
Okay.
I have a long-
Do you have anything further that
Okay,
you would
yeah,
like to
yeah.
reference? Go
Yeah,
right ahead,
I
sir,
can do
please.
it. Yep, I'll do it.
Finish up, then we'll go to Mr. Lucy, Mr. Rose.
Also, at the studio, on 11/2/2010, it seems that Mr. Garabedian did work for Donald Wong exclusively at the studio, which is against station policy. There's 150 images of what appear to be individual campaigning for state representative, along with pictures of Donald running for selectman. Everybody in town knows that Rich worked for Donald, and he did it well in the books. And like I
Could you be
said,
specific about that reference on the books, the time?
well, all right, it happened November 2nd, 2010 at 7:12 p.m. And this was down at the, on our equipment and at the station.
It was 12 p.m.
At 12:15 p.m., I'm sorry.
Except 12, so that was during the day, and that was like through the week.
7:12 and 15 seconds p.m.
Okay.
Those late after, those evening actually.
Okay, but the date was November the 2nd?
November the 2nd, 2010.
Okay,
That's
thank
what
you.
these were. And
Okay,
so there's, like I said, there's 150 pictures of Donald. There's also a banner that was presented for Donald that's also on the computer. And again, that's also against station policy. There's a lot more in that computer. This is just some of it. This is everything that was wrong severely. There's other stuff in there. There's emails and things like that, and it just I didn't want to go through the rest of that. It being 7:30 and the game's on tonight, I guess.
okay, so you're just referencing
it's
some
a-
highlights?
these are
There is-
highlights.
There is a
There
lot
is
more
more.
relevant to this report?
Yeah, there is
Okay.
more. I just don't want to go on. I can go on all night.
Okay. All right, let me ask Mr. Lucy, do you have any comments or questions, sir?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. First thing I have to say is I'm quite disappointed that Mr. Garabedian was engaged in helping different political campaigns gain the edge by having them access the SCTV and SCTS facilities and using our equipment and staff to promote their agenda. With that said, I would just want to read this into the record. After reviewing the forensic report, I saw numerous pictures on the SCTV computer regarding political campaigning. There was two campaigns, to be exact, there were two campaigns that he was working on. One was for Donald Wong, the other one was for Michael Downing. Donald Wong when he was running for the state rep and for selectman, and for Mike Downing when he was running for selectman. I just think that's a violation of both SCTS and SCTV policy, to my knowledge. And I just want the public to be aware of that. People watching this should know. As far as like how many political events I personally observed him on, trying to give him the edge by using staff and equipment, I want to read these four into the record. There was at Donald Wong's victory party, and this was at the Hammersmith. I was personally there. So I saw him and the staff that he brought down filming Donald at his campaign kickoff. I forget the year, it was, I think that was 2009, 2010. But I was there, I saw it. And I have to say, to my knowledge, nothing has been brought in for revenue to using that. Nothing was listed there by a treasurer, and nothing was listed on Mr. Wong's office or campaign political finance forms. Nothing. Nothing for in-kind services, nothing for expenditures. I think this is very concerning. Another thing was at his victory party up at the Kowloon. Mike Downing was up there videotaping the show, which was broadcasted through the Down in Town show. Mr. Garabedian was there. He was filming the victory party, and Mike Downing was commenting on it. I think this was wrong. I don't think this was right at all. This is a violation of both the SCTS and SCTV policy regarding politicking. And no revenue was brought in to SCTS or SCTV, and nothing was listed on the Office of Campaign Political Finance forms listed on the state website for this activity. Now, there was also a political speech where Mr. Garabedian was involved in filming with his crew, SCTV crew, up at the Kowloon for Mike Downing when he was running for selectman. And this was broadcast on the Down in Town show. I forget the number, but I remember watching it. And I remember Rich Garabedian taking credit for it at the end. No monies were brought in, and nothing was listed on Mr. Downing's reports listed with the town clerk's office, which is on the town website. Nothing for in-kind services, nothing for expenditures. This is a problem. And another one that I have is another incident that I saw where he was engaged in politicking, which is against SCTV and SCTS rules, by taking the camera. He took a SCTS camera crew with Rich Garabedian, went up to the State House, and after Mark Falzone was voted out of office, he began to videotape this. He went in there, he was like videotaping Mark Falzone's office, and I don't see why he was doing this. I want answers. I want him to come in here and answer to this. And obviously, he just doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to come up here and answer. Most thieves don't. And that's all I gotta say. One quick last note is, I was also disturbed about the numerous images of nudity that were discovered on his SCTS computer. And this was also confirmed by computer forensic experts. One thing I want to note is the teachers are fired up there, and our staff member, has no discipline for it. Does he think he's above the rules? That's what I want to know. Is he above the rules? I want to answer. He has to answer for this. I wish he would come up here and answer. That's all I have to say, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Rose, do you have any comments or questions?
No, well, thank you for that. It's very enlightening. I didn't know any of that stuff. I'd like to being the treasurer, I've tried to go back in the records because Mr. Garabedian has claimed a lot of false statements. And it's been very difficult to follow all the money. So an example would be the American Express card, which was issued to Mr. Garabedian in 2008. And it was in his name alone. I tried to go back and check all the records as far as trying to get inventory control, to try to figure out, well, what have we purchased and when did we purchase it, and what is it, because the inventory has been so poorly done. So in 2008, he charged over $20,000 to the American Express. 2009, it was almost $30,000. In 2010, it was almost $50,000. So it was almost $100,000 that I've been able to coordinate. But I have not been able to get the password to go in to find out what he purchased. Where it was in Mr. Garabedian's name alone, we can't get into it. We've asked for his password. I think he gave us the username, but we haven't been able to. So I'd like to ask him, I'd like to request that we get access into the American Express account that SCTVS and SCTV has been paying all along. I haven't been able to get to 2011 and 2012. But in doing that, it's like anything else. You start digging and you start finding a lot of... And I had a lot of questions about some expenses. And I know that most of these were never... I tried to go through the minutes to try to coordinate things. But he had... he made a check out to Michael Downing in July 16th of '09 for $602 for T-shirts for Downing Town Show. Now, I don't think he did that for any other host. I just found that one. October of '09, there was purchases of coats at the Old World Apparel Company. I think it was like $600 or $700. He also, in 2009, when he filed with the Secretary of State's office, he claimed that he was a president, which he wasn't. I think Mr. Nicholas was the president. In doing that, I found a bunch of checks that were written out in his writing that were never signed. And I checked on the American Express, and it said you can email these payments, which he did. The checks were never signed, and they never went through the right process. And it was like over $25,000 worth of checks. That was just in 2009. And I had a couple of other... He had, let's see, did I bring it? Yeah. I found a bill from Sinorama, and we paid for it. Well, the ratepayers paid for it. He ordered 72 mugs, and like there was a dozen left in his office. And it was the Downingtown show. And they made sure they put the crosshair on his face. And this was this side here. So I don't believe he ever did this for any other host. And I don't think it was really proper to purchase, oh, that's chipped, huh? To
Yeah,
purchase
left
these
a little
particular
more.
items for one particular person that I think was very improper. And I would like to have some answers from Mr. Garabedian.
One quick question, if you could, Mr. Rose.
Sure.
In reference to those promotional things that were purchased for Mr. Downing and obviously his show, was he a board member at that time?
Yes, he was.
So he was sitting on the SCTV Board of Directors
Correct. Correct.
while he was doing his show and getting free through the coffers of SCTV promotional items for giveaways for his show?
Yes. And also while he was running for selectman.
Okay. In your tenure on the board, were you on the board at that time?
Yes, I was.
Do you ever have a recollection of the issue of those promo items being put before the Board of Directors for a vote?
No, I
Or a
don't.
concurrence that it's
I
all right
don't.
to do this?
The only thing that was brought up was the trip to Michigan. It was $1,500. One of the staff members was gonna go out there to Michigan to sell T-shirts, Saugus T-shirts. And that was approved, which I don't think, in retrospect, it should have been, but it was at the time. Otherwise, I have no knowledge of any of these transactions. That's all I have to say.
Okay. I'm gonna ask the board to go to page number 4. And for the record, this is page 4 of 9 pages of a report from Evadox. And this is signed by David Papagrissis. He's the director of the digital forensics at the Evadox Corporation.
Last page.
We have, again, for the record, of continuity relevant to who had the computer, when it was brought in, when it was received, when it was picked up, and the report. And other than everything that's been mentioned so far, there's probably 500 questions that I have, maybe some duplication from what you people have asked, just in the wonderment of why a lot of this was done. But I would like to read for the record, it is a document that is a letter, and it was recovered from the SCTS computer. And the date that the file was created was January 2nd, 2013. That's at the start of this year. Now, at the start of this year, the SCTS board had been constituted since August 1 of 2012.
Yeah.
Okay. And this letter is dated January 2nd, 2013. It is addressed to the TJX Companies, Inc. Attention, Sherry Lang, Senior VP, Global Communication, 770 Cochituate Road, Framingham, Mass. 01701. Dear Sherry, I met you a few years back while interviewing for a video production manager position with TJX Companies. The position didn't work out, but I've always remembered you for your objectivity and professionalism. Your company's recent purchase of Sierra gave me an idea that I'd like your opinion on. What will you present and future video online requirements be? What will your presence be relevant to future video and online requirements? How will you fulfill them? Where will the studio be located? At the company or Sierra's headquarters? Do you hire staff or use existing in-house talent? Do you hire an outside vendor? What skill sets are necessary as more and more advertising, marketing, and retail sales migrate to the internet? These are only a few questions that come to mind. I believe we have some answers for those very same questions that you're asking yourself. Paragraph 2. We are a crackerjack team composed of professional video producers with diverse and complementary skill sets. We are net media savvy, in parentheses, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc., et al., with above treatment, script development, and below-line production, post-production, distribution, video production skills, background, and expertise. Paragraph 3. We presently operate Saugus Community Television, a PEG access station. I'm executive director, along with programmer, producer, and site manager Roger Froyland, and producer and social media manager Jason Smith. We complement each other's skills, have a history together, and seek a future beneficial and appreciated by all. We are a viable, dedicated, and hard-working group. We could work with you as a vendor, staff, or consultant group. We can help you realize your goals and objectives of which you may not yet be aware. We will efficiently, professionally, creatively, and most certainly cost-effectively fulfill your objective. It's what we do and do well. Call me if you would like to discuss this further. I'd love to hear from you. Sincerely, Richard Garabedian, Executive Director, Saugus Community Television, Inc., 1 Pierce Memorial Drive, Saugus, Saugus, Mass, with the telephone numbers. The comment that I will make now, and I hope everybody everywhere hears loud and clear, the audacity with which Mr. Garabedian represents himself and Saugus Cable Television as the executive director. He ceased to become executive director of Saugus Cable Television when the town constituted the board of directors August 1st, 2012. His title was operations manager, not executive director. He had been working as the operations manager from August 1 until January 2nd, 2013, when he wrote this letter. You want to say approximately 8-9 months? He misrepresents his position at the station. He's trying to gather outside business, which he is not allowed to do. He never once approached the board, referenced this, and if he did, he would have been told, you got no authority to do that. The board is not outside looking for work. Flagrant is one word. Arrogant is another word. Libelous, and an out-and-out fabrication, lie, and I could probably go on 15 more words if I knew them all. But he has one hell of a nerve representing himself as the executive director, out trying to hustle work on equipment with personnel that are being paid by this town, that are working for this town, with this town's equipment. Who does he think he is to do something like that to the expense of the rest of the taxpayers in this town? This is borderline criminal, and maybe it is criminal. I don't know. We are certainly looking at that, and questions have been raised, as to the propriety of him. One of the reasons when he was terminated back in August, and there was a big list, many items, this at that time was not known. That's why we've asked him in to see if he can answer some of these questions of why he would do this, what his intention was. Does he have any mitigating argument about doing something like this, misrepresenting himself to a commercial vendor looking for work? Was he looking for work on behalf of himself, his staff, or his personal video company? We have no idea. But one thing I do know, on January 2nd, 2013, he was not the executive director, did not have the authority to seek outside work, never approached the board, and to me, that's misrepresentation, and that's borderline criminal. Totally, totally wrong. And I think this board deserves an answer from him. There are many other things in this report that you'd probably shake your head about. This is a glaring piece of arrogance, indifference, and out-and-out lies about what he does or what he doesn't do. Some people might take exception, some people might not be concerned. I know one thing, this board has a fiduciary responsibility for every penny that is spent. That's why when we get into the budget this past year, we reduced it by $155,000. We know why some of this stuff has gone out the door. Some of this stuff had legs, I think. Maybe little legs, maybe big legs. But this board has reduced the budget by $155,000 as opposed to what Mr. Garabedian was proposing over these last several years of spending the $390,000, and then with that, and then putting in for a minus $46,000 on top of spending the $380, the $390. The bottom line is simply this. There are questions. This board, and more importantly, the town deserves the truth about what this means with the other questions, and this board demands Mr. Garabedian to respond to this board relevant to these very, very serious questions and, frankly, accusations about what did you do in your tenure at Saugus Cable Television. So I'd like to request a motion that we do pretty much the same courtesy and extend another 30 days and request Mr. Garabedian's presence to come explain all of this report and all the questions that were raised tonight, instead of crying to the Board of Selectmen, going to the newspaper, instead of dealing with this thing in an upright, straightforward, truthful manner. This is atrocious, it's disgusting, and it needs an answer. Can I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to send Mr. Garabedian a registered letter to invite him to our next meeting. To Mr. Garabedian, sorry, Mr. Garabedian and his lawyer, to our next meeting.
Okay, the chair will second. Any questions or comments relevant to that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The board will send out a letter tomorrow ASAP, Ms. Marabello, requesting his presence at the meeting, the next scheduled meeting, the end of next month, to answer questions relevant to this report that we received and several additional questions that we're probably going to have. This investigation is ongoing at this particular point. All right, that is it for the agenda. Is there anything that the board has? Mr. Rose?
I have a question, I have a comment. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank this board. We've been accused of being puppets, we've been insulted, we've been told we should resign, that we were a disgrace to the community. We have worked for the last 2 years to get to the bottom of all this. It's been a terrible, terrible 2 years for this board, but I want to say I'm very proud of all of you, and I want to thank all of you for a great job. That's all I have to say.
Will you buy us a beer?
Nope.
Okay, I'd like to say something.
Comment, Mr. Ravagno.
I'm just really upset of all the negativity surrounding this whole thing. It's upsetting. I had to explain to my son about what someone called me a sheep. He saw it in the paper, and he says, you know, it was a hard time for him. He didn't know what was going on, so I had to explain to him what was going on. It's made it really, really difficult.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
The past year has been horrible.
Yeah.
I started off in this board, I didn't know anybody. I knew Janice, that was it probably. But as for Mr. Garabedian, I didn't know him, I didn't know anybody else that was on the board. I didn't personally know any selectmen, I didn't know anybody. I was relatively a no-name person with a good resume that was taken onto this board. And I didn't get in this to become political. I got in this because I wanted to make Saugus a better place. I'm an engineer, I work for the United States Air Force. I fight for this country every day, and for somebody to say to me that I'm maligning their freedom of speech, and that bothers me. I have a great deal of respect for our veterans in this town, no matter who they may be, a selectman, anybody. They did their service, and I respect that. But bottom line is, I don't feel like I'm getting the same respect from those people, and I demand it. I want an apology. The other thing I'd like to say too is this. What we went through tonight will definitely put the 501c3 in jeopardy. We're going to have to make a letter to the Attorney General's office and to the IRS. It's our duty as a board to notify those groups of what happened. I am not going to sit here and take a fall from Rich Garabedian after all the crap he's pulled. And like I said, I didn't know anybody. I gave that man the benefit of a doubt when I joined this board. I came on here with a clear conscience, and it was just soured. And I'm tired. I'm really tired of this. It's not fair. I'm done.
Okay. Mr. Lucy, do you have a comment, sir?
No comment,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
All right. I'm going to say one more thing. And I will say it because I think the town needs to be aware of the truth of all the underhanded dealings that have been going on, and the fact that the news media has been nothing more, nothing less than their personal PR outfit. That's the Saugus Advertiser, that's the Lynn Item, and to some degree the Advocate. We're not here to be PR people and spin. We spent our time searching for a new executive director, and trying to get to the bottom of things because of a potential suit unless we provide them with things. We had to keep digging to provide the information to his attorney under the threats of we're gonna have a suit. And that's why we came upon most of the stuff, because of their insistence that they wanted everything and they wanted it now, they wanted it last week. I just hope the people of Saugus will listen to the fact, understand the truth, and it doesn't lie. We have reports upon reports with backup, with statements that will stand up in court when Mr. Garabedian decides to file his complaint with whoever he's gonna file it with. It's absolutely degrading to have to listen day in and day out about what has happened when in fact the truth is in the paperwork. It is there, it's backed up, it's proven, and it will stand up in court when all is said and done. So I hope the people of this town understand all the subterfuge that has been put forth by Mr. Garabedian and his group about freedom of speech. We are probably the most wide-open group in the town. Come anytime, voice your opinion. We have never once got involved in freedom of speech issues. But if you listen to him complain, you'd think we were shutting off everybody from talking. The tapes, again, will prove all of our meetings. Anybody and everybody can have their say, and did have their say. So I just hope the people of this town realize and get the truth of what's been happening here. Any further comments by anybody? Mr. Lucy?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one thing I'd like to add to your comment regarding being disappointed with the media. I'm also disappointed with the media, particularly the Lynn item in particular. Their stories have been one-sided. They've been biased against this board. They never yet ever. They still don't even come to our meetings, and they don't. You know, they have no interest in what's going on here, and yet they put out these stories about the board that are just not true. And you know, it's very disappointing to see, and it's misleading the public to believe that there's all this controversy and all this trouble, and that's not the case. We've actually delved into everything. We want the truth. We want people to come up here and speak their minds. I've been an advocate of this long before this board was even formed. I was attending these SCTV board meetings long before most people were even on this board. And I had asked numerous questions, many times, to the board. And one particular meeting stands out to me is where they actually tried to lock out the meeting to the whole public. Not only did they not want you to speak, they didn't even want you to attend the meeting. That's all I have to say, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Necessary, that was on there pending Mr. Garabedian to afford him the the right to request such, to discuss and answer any questions that we might have relevant to the letter that we sent him, and because he has chosen for whatever reason not to appear to tell his side, we will bypass executive session and we'll look for the next meeting based on our response before we proceed any further with the investigation. Mike, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, the chair will second that. All in favor?
Aye.